Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope everyone is great today. The day is September 19th, 2025, a late night stream. And we're going to cover something that this channel really is not about. And I don't even believe necessarily fully in this. But we're going to cover something that, please give a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Make sure that the sound's coming through. But the point is that there's theories going around, like always, that there's going to be a rapture, okay? And first of all, I don't even know how I feel about it, right? But you're talking to a guy that just wants to be with Christ every day, not look to the future, not try to hope for something in the future. Let's just be present with Christ right now, okay? But the point is, there's too much interesting stuff here in the numbers that I have to cover, okay? And I just need to preface this video by saying that I don't believe there's going to be a rapture, okay? But the elites, and first of all, the guys who wrote the Left Behind series, you can't tell me that they're not part of the elites, okay? This is coded with Left Behind, okay? The movies. Now, why is that? Guys, we just had Charlie Kirk die, right? And the main character who plays in the Left Behind movies is Kirk Cameron, and Kirk means church, okay? Okay, the branch, I get it. I'm not saying there's going to be a rapture on the 23rd, okay? The point is I'm trying to make people be realistic here. Why are we talking about this always? Everyone's always trying to predict this rapture. If it's coming, then it's going to come without any of us knowing. Why are we trying to always predict it? The point is, I'm covering this now because the elites are coding this, okay? The people, this is part of their coding with Charlie Kirk, okay? Remember, when I first talked about this, it was very clear that this riddle was connected to Kirk Cameron of Left Behind. And again, Kirk Cameron is part of this too, okay? So, but I'm going to show you. Now, I don't watch Rapture channels. I don't watch anyone who predicts raptures, but I've had multiple people ask me to cover this. And I want to cover this in a realistic way. And I want to cover this and show you how the numbers do point to the 23rd, but not for some rapture that most people think. I think it could be a financial thing, okay? Think about it. If the elites are doing a mockery of a true rapture, right? If you're going to talk about that, their whole thing is money and control, okay? Money and control. Their rapture is leaving people behind, the poor people behind, and making the rich get raptured, right? So to me, this is all about financial stuff. Everything that happened the last week was connected to the finances, the Federal Reserve. I think we could be going into a Great Depression soon also. So when I think rapture, okay, I think it's something with money, okay? Remember, we're going to talk about all this, but I just want to preface this by saying I am not a rapture predicting channel, and I'm not predicting a rapture. I'm covering what's clearly there in the numbers, okay? And again, I don't watch rapture channels. I appreciate everyone who does their decoding, and everyone has their own right to decode what they want, okay? But this is not a rapture prediction channel, and it's never going to be that, okay? So I'm not here to predict a rapture, but I'm here to cover this because people have asked me to cover it, and it's kind of a hot topic right now that I felt like I wanted to cover. So let's get into it. Please hit those like buttons because again, we're gonna stay realistic, and we're gonna talk about this in a realistic way. We're not predicting a rapture. I think something else might happen with Israel. You could see something with Israel in the war. You could be something with the monies. You could see another event with Trump. Something might happen at Charlie Kirk's funeral? I don't know, but a plane crash? Notice the plane on the Left Behind movie? Notice it says from the runaway, like a runway. The plane is right here. You see the moon? So the first thing is, to me, trying to predict a rapture every day is not realistic. Okay? That's not realistic. Especially when it says no man knows the hour in the Bible. And secondly, why are we not present with God in the moment now, always, instead of waiting for him to come back? Yeah, we hope that it will happen, but we should be trying our best to love as God would have us love now. Okay? Be with him now. So again, I want to preface this by saying that it's all connected to the Left Behind series, okay? And it can't get any more obvious because you got Kirk Cameron, okay? Kirk, KC. All the last week's events have been connected to the KC. Kirk Cameron, Charlie Kirk, King Charles, Christian Kirk. I'm going to show you about Christian Kirk, a football player that's all tied to this. It's all connected to the KC. Now, on the 23rd, could we see something with King Charles? This is a true possibility, in my opinion. But let's cover the main gist of what a lot of people have already shared. Again, I don't know what channel or what person initially found this. This is not my original find, so I can't take credit for it. But whatever channel found this originally, I don't know. There's so many people sharing this and talking about this. I have no idea who found this first, so I can't give proper credit, right? I've watched a few channels, and I don't know any of these channels. The only channel I know is Steve Fletcher, because he gave me a shout out once, and I appreciate the guy, but he's always talking about the Rapture too. But I don't know any other Rapture channels. I know Joseph Aquaviva, but Joseph Aquaviva never tries to predict a rapture. Okay, so this is not my specialty. This is not what I talk about. But the point is, a rapture doesn't need to be some mystical thing. It could be a realistic thing with the markets. It could be something completely different. Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of the Jewish New Year, okay, which is always connected to market stuff, okay? But anyway, the Feast of Trumpets, right? Everyone's sharing this. Again, I don't know who originally found this, but it is interesting. So the Jewish New Year starts on Monday, the moon day, September 22nd, on the new moon, and goes through the 24th, okay? Meaning that the day in between is the 923 day, which is the gematria of Feast of Trumpets. Now remember, the 923, even when it's not about the rapture, every year people are talking about the date 923, every year. And in most years, it's not even about the rapture. It's about something else, like an event. But every year, 923, everyone's always talking about 923, okay? But this year, the main focus seems to be the rapture, because this year, the Feast of Trumpets falls on 923. That's why this year, it's an interesting year, right? And this is in the Jewish or Latin cipher. This is a cipher where it's very hard to find the number 923. You're not going to find a lot of things that equal 923, okay? So this is very interesting right off the bat. As somebody who's a gematria channel like me, I know that this is very interesting just from the perspective that this is not normal to get a something like this to line up. So that's the first thing, the 923 Feast of Trumpets, right? But the other thing about this date that lines up, besides the 923, if we go into basic English ordinal gematria, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, to Z is 26, the date of 923 is a very important day connected to the rapture, because 923 is the 99 days left in the year. Wow, that's interesting, because the rapture, people are saying it's going to be a rapture on this day, right? Again, I'm not predicting this. I'm decoding it and realistically looking at the numbers, okay? In gematria, rapture equals 99. This leaves 99 days in the year, okay? Now, the Feast of Trumpets is all about the new moon, okay? The Feast of Trumpets is a holiday that always begins on the new moon. Look at what new moon equals, 99. Now, another thing that I never see anyone else talk about with this, the harpazo, right, is the word for rapture, the word in the Bible for rapture. But the first definition that it gives for harpazo is two C's. Two C's, right? Well, look at what that equals, guys. Two C's equals 99, like rapture, like new moon. So this fits perfectly. If we're going to look at the date, 9/23, Feast of Trumpets, remember, who's the most famous person on the world stage right now? His name is Trump. Trumpets. Okay? But then if we look at the days left in the year, 99 days left in the year, well, we get the 99s, like rapture, like new moon, like to seize. Now, let's think about this for a minute. To seize. Is there going to be something on the 23rd where Trump says, is this going to be like something with them going in and seizing something? Is something going to happen where Trump sends in military to get people, like to seize them? Think about it. Are we going to see an event, possibly, or something, where the military, Trump calls like martial law or order, and gets people to seize, to take them in, right? I mean, we're living in a world right now where this could happen any day. With the Charlie Kirk thing that just happened, you could have an event where Trump could easily declare some sort of martial law or something like that, and you could have this to seize could come into play, right? Or something going to happen in Israel, because this is all connected to Israel, of course. But you got to think about it in multiple different ways, not just some hope that there's going to be a rapture, a real rapture that day. It's probably not, okay? Now, I'm 99.9% sure there's not going to be a rapture that day, okay? So also, let's think about the nines, like rapture equals 99, new moon 99. This is the day leaving 99 days in the year. Well, this is 9/23, right? 23 is the ninth prime. So if you were to reduce this 23 down to its ninth prime, the date 9/23 is like 9/9, right? 23 reduces to the ninth prime, so 9/9. There you go again. Not only is it the 99 days left in the year, the 23 reduces to the 9 prime, right? Like 23/9. That's also the date, guys. The 23 reduces to the 9, 23/9. Okay, so this is the reason why you always get this date as Rapture Day. It's because it's coded into the math. It's all about learning the math, guys. Numbers run the world, both with God and with the elites. If you understand the numbers, you understand why these things are happening like this. Because 23 is the ninth prime, which breaks down to the date 9/23, which gets us back to the 99, okay? So this is why I believe this date is happening, right? Now, this right here and this is the two main aspects. But now this is what everyone's been sharing. We just had the death of Charlie Kirk on what looks to be shaped just like, now what is this thing called again? I just forgot the name of this thing, but it's shaped just like this, okay? And there's 9 candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's your 9 again. And Charlie Kirk would have been the middle point, which would be the 5th. But there's 9 spots here. Looks very much, yeah, menorah, thank you. So the menorah, it looks very much like the menorah. Now, Kirk means church, and Charlie means free. So a rapture, the people that believe in the rapture as what the biblical rapture, they think that they're going to be freed. The church, right? The church, Jesus's bride is going to be freed. So the name Charlie Kirk is a lot like freeing the church, like a rapture. Okay? You got to think of it like that. That's why I believe the elites did this. This is all connected to that. Now remember, this is their version of a rapture, not God's rapture. Okay? This is their ritual, right? Now God has ultimate control over it all, but ultimately this is the ritual within the ritual. Okay? But look at this. From Charlie Kirk's shooting to the 923 date is 13 days. Well, in gematria, 13 equals 99. Wow. Think about that for a second. I just told you that September 23rd leaves 99 days in the year, like rapture, like new moon. This happens on a new moon. To seize, which is the word for, the rapture in the Bible, is the definition is to seize. So what is the chance that it's 13 days after Mr. Kirk gets killed on the menorah? Okay. 13 equals 99 in the same cipher as rapture. Okay. 13 days later. So that's interesting. And I haven't seen anyone talk about this because, again, I focus on numbers here. Most of the other people aren't focused enough on the numbers to understand why this is connecting. But the 13 is connected to the 99. 13 equals 99. Now, this is what kind of brings it all together. Charlie Kirk was taken out at 9:23 Israel time. And this is what made me want to do a video on this, because this is pretty tight, guys. This is pretty tight, okay? If you take this into consideration, right? If you take all this into consideration, you take this into consideration, and then you find out that the time in Israel when Kirk was shot was 9:23, their local time. To me, that is pretty tight. That's the number they're giving us. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you it's their ritual. It's their version of a rapture. It's their ripoff of a rapture. Okay, 9:23 Israel time. Now remember, as I pointed out, Charlie means free man, Kirk means church, or in other words, to free the man of the church or the bride of Christ, right? Free the church. That's the rapture, right? They're being freed from the prison of the world. That's what the rapture represents. You're being freed from the flesh and returning to Christ. So with all this into consideration, we're going to take a deeper look. Now, considering that Kirk was shot at 9:23, there's the movies called Left Behind. And the guy who stars in this movie, as I mentioned in the beginning, is Kirk Cameron. Let me find Kirk Cameron here. Where is he at? All right, so Kirk Cameron. This is why the riddle is so tight, guys. This is undeniable that this is coded in with their choosing, because they chose a guy named Kirk, which connects us to Left Behind, which is about the rapture. Now, who is the guy who wrote the book Left Behind? Jerry B. Jenkins. Well, when was he born? Look at this. Jerry B. Jenkins, born September 23rd. Okay? Do you guys get it now? Kirk Cameron, Charlie Kirk shot at 9:23 Israel time. The guy who wrote Left Behind, which stars Kirk Cameron, he was born on September 23rd. So this guy who wrote the books about a rapture, about the tribulation, he has this birthday. Okay? That's why, again, we have to understand that this is definitely coded. Okay? Doesn't mean it's going to happen like you think. All right? So, again, Kirk Cameron, Charlie Kirk, Left Behind, 923, it's all there. Okay? Now, there's more evidence of this theory. Okay? And I haven't seen anyone else talk about this either. There's a football player named Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk. So let me break this down. Christian, of course, like Christian, and Kirk means church. Okay? So this guy's name literally translates to Christian Kirk or Christian church. The rapture of the Christian church. Do you guys get it? And look at what number he wears. 13. What did I just tell you about 13? 13 equals 99, like rapture. The dude literally wears number 13, Christian Kirk, Christian church. Now, why am I bringing this guy up? Because the NFL season is currently getting ready to start its third week. Christian Kirk was missing, which means he was injured for the first 2 weeks. And I'll give you guys one guess when he will play his first game of the season. You guessed it. Christian Kirk, or Christian Church, is what his name means. He will be playing his first game of the season on Charlie Kirk's funeral, September 21st, 2 days. 2 days before this date, the first game of the season for Christian Kirk will be on the funeral of Charlie Kirk. Are you kidding me? And that's not even all, guys. This guy used to play for the Arizona Cardinals, like a cardinal in the Catholic Church, right? Charlie Kirk's funeral will be taking place in the same stadium that this guy used to play in. This guy used to play for the Arizona Cardinals. Charlie Kirk's funeral is... How many people have had funerals in a stadium? Guys, if any of you in the chat can tell me anybody who's had a funeral in a stadium recently, I'll wait, because I don't think many people have had a funeral in a stadium, especially not the Cardinals Stadium where Christian Kirk used to play. Well, now he plays for Houston, so I'm really watching out for a ritual with Houston, guys, because there's a reason why Houston is the team that he's playing for now. Isn't there a mega church in Houston? Isn't Joel Osteen's church in Houston? Can anyone confirm that? Houston has some big churches, doesn't it? Isn't Joel Osteen I don't remember, but he plays for Houston now. He used to play for the Cardinals. Now look at this. Now this is why I know it's about the Jesuits. This is not God's 923 date, okay? This is the Jesuit order, okay? Look at the name Christian Kirk. It equals 69 and 201, like the Jesuit order. It also equals Catholic Church. Now, this is where it gets obvious. Look at the name Christian Kirk. It equals 201, like Feast of Trumpets. So look, the Jesuit order equals Feast of Trumpets, equals Christian Kirk, equals... Yeah, and look, the stadium that Charlie Kirk's funeral is going to be in is State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona. Well, that equals 201. So, again, this is proof that Christian Kirk, or Christian Church, again, Kirk means church. Please hit those likes, guys. Again, I'm not predicting a rapture. For those of you in here who think that, I already debunked that. I'm not doing that. I'm showing you how this is all coded into the ritual of Charlie Kirk and the funeral, right? Also, State of Israel. I forgot that one. State of Israel. (201). State of Israel, 201. In the same cipher as Christian Kirk, Feast of Trumpets, the Jesuit Order, Christian Kirk, all those equal 201 in the same cipher, guys. Also, Catholic Pope. Catholic Pope, 201. Catholic Mass, 201. This is a Jesuit ritual, not God's rapture, okay? This is a ritual by the people who did the Kirk thing, by the people. I'm not expecting a rapture, okay? Okay? What do you mean another rapture channel? I'm sitting here literally telling you, stop trying to predict a rapture, and then someone comes in here and says I'm another rapture channel. Like, are you not listening, Robin Taylor? Do I need to repeat myself 100 million times again? This is to debunk or to stop people from predicting raptures every day, because it doesn't do nothing. Okay, I'm exposing how this is the Jesuits and the Catholic Church, right? Which it's all about Charlie Kirk's ritual, because this is why Charlie Kirk Cameron, right? So again, Robin Tyre, get out of my chat. Okay, I'm just going to be nice. I'm not going to ban you. But why are you in here trying to cause trouble? I'm exposing. Go back and watch the beginning. I clearly did a disclaimer. I'm not predicting a rapture. I'm decoding what everyone else is talking about. Okay? And this is going to be the best decode you're going to see on it, because no one else is going to break this down. None of these rapture channels are going to break this down by the numbers like this. Okay? It all goes back to this guy, Christian Kirk, having his first game of the season on Charlie Kirk's funeral 2 days before the Feast of Trumpets. Feast of Trumpets equals Christian Kirk, equals the Jesuit Order, equals State of Israel, equals Catholic Pope, equals Catholic Mass, all equal 201. Now this, somebody else gave me this. I believe, was it Maggie McCombs, or somebody else gave me this? So on the funeral of Christian Kirk, Benjamin Netanyahu will turn 911 months old. So the guy who leads Israel, he will turn 911 months old on the funeral of Charlie Kirk. Remember, I just told you, State of Israel 201, like Feast of Trumpets. The Feast of Trumpets starts the day after Netanyahu turns 911 months old. On the funeral, right? Now, let's skip ahead real fast. Because you remember Mr. Jerry B. Jenkins, who wrote the Left Behind series, which talks about the rapture? Guess what year he was born? Oh, yeah, look, 1949. Who else was born in 1949? Yeah, the guy who's going to turn 911 months old on the 21st. But look at this. Jerry B. Jenkins, the guy who wrote Left Behind, who's born on September 23rd, 923, was born 28 days before Benjamin Netanyahu. Guys, in Chaldean, one of the oldest ciphers, Rapture. The guy wrote a book about the rapture, and rapture equals 28. He was born 28 days before the Israel president, who's going to turn 9/11 months old 2 days before 9/23. Yeah, and he's 75 right now, which is the gematria of Charlie Kirk and Tyler Robinson, and tribulation, all equals 75. He wrote a book about the tribulation and the rapture, right? Israel equals 28 in reduction. So what is the chance of that? This dude is born 28 days before Netanyahu. Out of all people in the world, out of all date measurements, it's this connection. So again, back to this, 9/11 months old on the funeral. Now, remember, my whole decodes the last week and a half have been about Charles, right? Like the King James Bible, whose middle name is Charles. Remember, Charlie Kirk's name is Charles James. King James's name was James Charles. They have the same name. Okay, so if you take the name that King James and Charles Kirk share, which is James Charles, and you decode it, well, first of all, Charles equals 66. There's 66 books in the current Bible, the King James Modern Translation. But look at this. James Charles equals LeBron James. Now, I'm going to bring in basketball here because this is part of the ritual, guys. James Charles, which is the name of Charlie Kirk and King James. James Charles. That equals LeBron James. Now, LeBron James, his nickname is King James. But look at the gematria of LeBron James. Oh, not only does he equal James Charles in 3 out of the three ciphers, in the Latin cipher, LeBron James, I don't think you guys understand how perfect this is. I can prove to you why they named him LeBron, because LeBron James is the only name, or one of the only names that you could come up with that would match the name James Charles, okay, which is the name of King James, James Charles. And that's the name of Charlie Kirk too, Charles James, right? So that's why his name is LeBron James, because it's perfect, okay? But look at this. The King James, this year, shout out to Ball Don't Lie and Myron, they've been talking about how this year, when the basketball season starts, LeBron James will play his 1611th game. So that's this year. So LeBron James is going to have a huge milestone this year that's going to connect him to King James. And King James is all about the Bible, right? This is where we get all this, from the Bible. But look at this. LeBron James, 923, like Feast of Trumpets. Now, LeBron James wears the number 23. I told you, 23 is the 9th prime. So why does LeBron James wear the numbers 23? Well, because 23 is the 9th prime, and 923 is the gematria of LeBron James. Also, this was Michael Jordan's number, of course. But so why am I talking about LeBron James all of a sudden? How does this connect? Okay. Because this is what everyone's missing. This is the clue as to why 923 is important. Let me beat it into the people who think that it's all about the rapture when it's just another riddle for something else. Look how old, this is just undeniable, guys. Look how old King Charles is going to be on Charlie Kirk's birthday this year. Read it and weep it. This is the reason. This is why the 923 is manifesting, because it's been all about Charles. I just told you, LeBron James, or King James, equals 923. And now our current king is going to turn 923 months old exactly on Charlie Kirk's birthday. On Charlie Kirk's birthday after he dies This is it right here. This is why I just told you that this is why. Okay? I don't want to hear any more people saying that it's all about the 923 date, because this connects us to the king now, right? Which I've already proven 100 times over, right? Yeah, but this is like a false king, right? This is because Jesus is the real king, but this is a ritual to pay tribute to the false kings of the earth, like King Charles, okay? And LeBron James, false idols. So on Charlie Kirk's birthday, he turns 923 months old. It's just ridiculous, guys. Now, if King Charles is going to go, this is the real mic drop moment. I just told you King Charles is turning 923 months on Charlie Kirk's birthday. So his son, all right, King William, if he would become king. Now remember, back earlier this year, I was harping on Mars years, okay? A Martian year is 687 Earth days. Look how old I'm getting ahead of myself. Look how old Prince William will turn on 923, Feast of Trumpets. He will turn exactly 23 Martian years. So it's his 23rd Martian birthday. On the 23rd, when king equals 23. And again, 23 is the 9th prime, like the date 923. Even 923 this year has 23 date numerology. 9 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 is 23. William turns 23 Martian years on this date. Now, why is the Martian year so important to the royal family? Let me prove it to you. If we go from Queen Elizabeth's birth on 4/21/1926 to the birth of her son, King Charles, on 11/14/1948. So here's why the Mars years are encoded into the royal family. I'm going to prove it right here, right? From the birth of his mother to King Charles' birth is exactly 12 Martian years. That means these two royal people, Queen Elizabeth and King Charles, share a Martian birthday. So now you understand the significance of the son of Charles turning 23 Martian years on 923, right? Now remember, we just had the death of Charlie. So look at this. I'm going to prove that Charlie Brown is also connected to the royal family and Mars years. Watch this. All right, so I just told you that from Queen Elizabeth to King Charles, it's exactly 12 Martian years. So Charles, right? Like Charlie Brown. We just had the death of Charlie Kirk, right? So let me show you how the Mars year is encoded. If we go from King Charles' birth to the debut of Charlie Brown, it's exactly 1 Martian year. So I should have laid this out on a slide so it's easy to see. So Queen Elizabeth, born exactly 12 Martian years before her son, and then her son, Charlie, they call him Charlie in the UK, is born exactly 1 Martian year before Charlie Brown released. You see this? You see how it's exactly 687 days, right? That's 1 Martian year. Now that's war, right? And we already connected this to Israel, and Israel's in the middle of a war. So Charlie Brown comes out on perfect timing with the Martian birthdays of the royal family. Okay. And then we just had the death of Charlie Kirk. So this is all I'm saying is there's something huge aligning here with King Charles and Kirk, of course, and Prince William. And Trump was just meeting with Prince William. Let me show you. So Trump was sitting at the banquet. Trump and Catherine banquet. So this was what was strange to me, right? When Trump went to the banquet where King Charles, hosted a banquet, they sat Trump in between Charles and Kate. Now, let us think about what this might mean. Why is he sitting next to the wife of William? And why is Melania sitting next to William? They switched, which is weird to me, okay? It's absolutely weird to me. And Trump was kind of eyeing Princess Kate. He was like making a statement like she's beautiful, and he was giving her like weird looks. Just go look at the pictures. See, here it is right here. You see the look he's giving her? Now, this is William's wife. And this is just happening right before all this stuff, right as this king stuff is going down, right? But why are they sitting her next to Trump, and why did they switch wives? Why did Melania go? And I think this is the reason. Let me show you how many days is it between Melania Trump and Princess Catherine. This is interesting. I know I'm getting off topic. I'm going to get back on the Rapture thing in a minute, but I want to show this. So Melania's birthday, I need to look up Melania's birthday. Melania is born April 26, 1970, okay? Remember, the Pope was buried on Melania's birthday, okay? Remember that. The Pope had his funeral on Melania's birthday. So if you go to Princess Kate, I find this very interesting. And so again, I told you that Trump and William, they switched wives. Trump was sitting next to Kate. William was sitting next to Melania. Now, if you look at Catherine and Melania, they also had a meeting, right? And they were with the kids. And I was like, why are they're really like making a big deal of these two women meeting, okay? And remember, she has cancer, right? Yeah, someone in the chat is mentioning the guy who killed the woman on the Ukraine, or the Ukraine woman. His name was DeCarlos Brown, which literally means Charlie Brown. Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that. The guy who killed the Ukrainian woman, his name literally translates to Charlie Brown. So there's a Charlie Brown riddle here for sure. But look, these two, right? How many days is in between these two? Look at this. Guys, there's 611 weeks exactly between Melania and Catherine. Now that is interesting. Why? Why is this 611 so interesting? Well, first of all, it's an upside down 9/11, right? But look at this. Assassination. Trump was shot at 6/11, assassination 6/11. These two women are born exactly 611 weeks apart. These two. And considering we're talking about left behind and the tribulation, look at this. Tribulation, 6/11. So assassination and tribulation both equal 6/11. And again, this is the amount of time between these two women. And they made a big deal out of this weekend, or this week when they met. So anyway, let's get back to the other pieces here. Now, look at this. This is pretty mind-blowing, considering everything else I've already showed. Look at when William took over on 9/9. Again, I had a whole slide about 99, okay? All this, Rapture 99, New Moon 99, to Seize 99, 923 is 99 days left in the year, 23 is the 9th prime. If you reduce the 23 to the 9, you got 9/9, right? Well, look at this. Prince William became the Prince of Wales on 9/9. From the day that Prince William became the Prince of Wales on 9/9 to 923 is 1110 days. Guys, 1110 is the 923rd composite. I mean, come on now. How much more perfect? Out of all date measurements to 923 from him, you get the 1110, which is the 923. I hope you guys understand how mind-blowing that is. That is absolutely perfect. Like, that's taking the composite number that of the days, and that's changing it. That's the composite 923, 1111 equals the 923 composite number. So that means the next day would be 111, or so, because William took over on 9/9 and King Charles took over on 9/8. So that means that this day, 923, is also 1111 from King Charles, from Queen Elizabeth dying to this day is 1111. So 1111. So think about that for a second. 1111. You know, that's like a really popular number that people talk about. Donald John Trump equals 1110. That's a good addition. Hold on. Donald John Trump, what did you say? Equals 1110. Oh, look at this. That's a perfect addition, guys. Look, Donald John Trump equals 1110. That's the amount of days from Prince William to Rosh Hashanah, the Feast of Trumpets, 1110. That's the 923 composite. Now remember, I talked about LeBron James and how this all connects to LeBron James this year. He can win play in his 1611 game, which is the King James Bible, right? Well, LeBron James plays in crypto.com arena. This is why I think it's going to be connected to crypto, guys. Remember how I showed you? I think you're going to have a very interesting time. Oh, that's interesting. That's a good find. Joseph, let me just pull your comment up. So look, 923 will be 11 months and 11 days after Kirk Cameron's birthday. So wow, that goes perfectly with what I was just showing. Kirk Cameron, the guy in Left Behind, 11 months, 11 days. Let's just look it up. When is Kirk Cameron born? Wait, so Kirk Cameron's born October 12th, just 2 days before Charlie Kirk. So yeah, October 12th, 2024. To 9/23. Yep, it's 11 months, 11 days, 11/11. So again, I told you to that day from King Charles becoming king is also 11/11 days. Jesus' blood equals 1111, Joseph says. So yeah, I mean, this is a huge number, 11/11, and yeah, I know Joseph has a bunch of 11/11s, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh, equals 1111. Crowley's born on October 12th, like Kirk Cameron. Yeah, that's a good point. And Crowley, I mean, I don't want to talk about that right now, but there's an interesting connection. So here's another good point. 9/23, according to the Julian calendar, which we should be on, is 9/10. Yeah, exactly. I forgot to mention that earlier. Remember, I told you there's 13 days in between Charlie Kirk's killing and 9/23. Well, that's the amount of days difference between the Julian and Gregorian calendars, which means 9/23 is 9/10. So this connects perfectly also. Okay? It all connects back to this calendar, right? Revelation 11:11, and after 3 days and a half, the Spirit of God, Spirit of life from God, entered into them, and they stood up in their feet, and great fear fell upon them, which saw them. Okay, so that's a good one too. Joseph says, Jesus answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God, equals 1111, 11:11. Yeah, so thank you to all the people who, the branch says Barack Hussein Obama, mark of the beast, equals 1111. So a lot of stuff to think about here, especially with all this one stuff. Anyway, what I was going to get at is LeBron James, he plays in crypto.com arena in Los Angeles. Look at the address for crypto.com arena. Yep, you guessed it. It's 1111. That's the arena where the king, LeBron James, which I already connected, that's where he plays. In an address 1111. So anyway, and look at what teams play there. The Los Angeles Lakers, the Los Angeles Kings. Like, how perfect. This is perfect. And again, from King Charles becoming king to 9/23 is 1111 days. Okay. And this is the most mind-blowing part still, guys. Charlie Kirk's birthday will be 9/23 months after Charles was born. The arena opened in 99, yeah. That's a good addition as well. Yeah, it says it opened in 1999. It's a good one. And 9 times 11 is 99. Don't forget that. We talked about 9/11. Benjamin Netanyahu turns 9/11 months old. So, yeah, we talked about this. We talked about the 1110 being the 9/23 composite number, right? And that's how many days it is from Prince William to the Rosh Hashanah. And just to verify this, 1110 is the 9/23 composite, you see? That means that 1111 is the 9/24. So that's also something to watch. Now, here's another addition, guys. This connects us to 9/11 again. Look, 9 times 11 is 99. We already talked about all the 99s with Rapture. Now, when the guy who wrote this book series, Jerry B. Jenkins, they called one of their books The Rapture, okay? Well, right here is Rapture, but one of the books is literally called The Rapture. Let me just look it up. Left Behind, The Rapture. So this one right here. So the book is called The Rapture, not just Rapture, but The Rapture. So what's interesting is if you go from 9/11 to 9/23, which again, it ties to all the rapture stuff everyone's talking about. Look at this, 8778 days. Guys, that's the 132nd triangular number. In Gematria, the rapture equals 132. Like Catholic Church. I mean, wow. Out of all things that this could equal, out of all the days it could be, it just happens to break down to the 132, which is the gematria of the rapture. And this is what you get if you add 33 to 99. Because remember, rapture equals 99. If you add the word the, which equals 33, you get 132. Okay, so think about that, guys. We're talking about from the 9/11 date, that huge date, to this date coming up, breaks down to the 132 triangular, which is the rapture. So you can look at this in different ways and still get a very similar code. You know, rapture equals 99, like new moon, like this all happens on a new moon. Also, another thing I'd like to mention is the guy who wrote Left Behind, he was born on a new moon. And look at when he turned. Remember, the guy who wrote Left Behind, he was born, when was he born? October. Jerry B. Jenkins. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Jerry B. Jenkins was born on 9/23/1949. Okay. So look, I mean, look, let's see when he's going to turn 9/23 months old. Let's see something. So Jerry B. Jenkins will turn 9/23 months old on 8/23 next year. So that's just something to think about. So wait, how many days after King Charles is Jerry B. Jenkins born? Let me look. Because we already made the connection between King Charles and just give me a second, guys. Wow. Look at this. So the guy who wrote Left Behind, Jerry B. Jenkins, he's born 314 days before or after King Charles. Well, I mean, that's pi. So there might be something there. The dude is born 314 days after Charles. So again, I don't know how exactly those two would connect, but that's something with the pi thing. All right, so let's talk about the eclipse. We're almost done, guys. Let's get through this. Thank you to the 300 of you. Please hit those like buttons. I got almost 300 in the chat and only 100 likes. So 200 of you don't like this, apparently. But that doesn't mean anything because YouTube takes away likes anyway. So, but it would be greatly appreciated if at least some of you could hit the like, because there's 200 of you that haven't almost. But yeah, Saros cycle. So this eclipse, right? The eclipse that's coming up on the funeral. Let me make sure I got all my slides here. So the eclipse that's coming up on the funeral of Charlie Kirk is part of Saros cycle 154. Now that's interesting because the Antichrist equals 154. Look at this. So do you guys see how the Antichrist equals 154? Look, the Antichrist equals 924. That's interesting. But yeah, 154. And the eclipse on Charlie Kirk's birthday is part of Saros solar cycle 154. Now, if you guys don't understand what solar cycles are, or solar Saros cycles, it's a way to map out the eclipses. Now, the last eclipse in Saros 154 was on September 11th, 2007. So here it is. Here's the first one ever. This was the first eclipse in Saros 154. It was on July 19th, 1917. But the last one, because it happens every 18 years or so, so the last one was on September 11, 2007. And so let's take a look at the eclipse that's coming up in a few days. Let's see where it goes over. So here is the eclipse, right? It's going to go over Oceania. But in specifically, one of the places it's going to go over is Christchurch, New Zealand. So think about everything I've talked about in this decode. The first game of the season for this player, Christian Kirk, which literally means Christian church, will be on the day of the eclipse. The eclipse will literally be taking place at the very moment that Charlie Kirk is having his funeral and that this player is playing his first game of the season. These things are too perfect, guys. And the eclipse will be going over Christ Church, New Zealand. Give me some mind blowns in the chat. Think about that for a second. Think about it. The eclipse at the very moment that Charlie Kirk, which means church, is having his funeral, the eclipse at that very moment will be going over Christchurch, New Zealand. And at that very moment, a football player named Christian Kirk, which means Christian church, will be playing his first game. Okay? And again, I already showed you how I think eclipse code equals 201. Look. Look at this. Eclipse code 201. Like the guy who's playing, Christian Kirk. The Jesuit order 201. Christian Kirk, Feast of Trumpets. This is going to happen in State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, which equals 201. Now, what else equaled 201? Hold on a second. State of Israel 201, Catholic Mass 201, Catholic Pope 201, the Jesuit Order 201. Order of Illuminati 201. Let's see. So, and look at what time. Look at what time it's going over Christ Church. It's nearly in the 201 minute. You see how it says 2? So this eclipse will be going over at like around 201. You see this? In Christ Church. You see how it's 69%? Well, what's the other number I just showed? 69 and 201. So the eclipse will be at 69% at around 201 at the very moment that this stuff is going down. And Charlie Kirk, the last thing he said, or the last thing he posted about his football team, let me just see if I can find this on Charlie Kirk's YouTube. Hold on a second. Charlie Kirk. Right here. You see his second to last video is about football. Yeah, we know Charlie Kirk is a psyop. Thank you for telling us. You've come to the channel where we all already know that. But thank you, God's robot. Some people may not know that, so it's probably good to repeat that it's definitely not what it seems. Anyway, look at his post about football. He says, the NFL is back just in time to ruin my week. I mean, what a post to make just before you get taken out, right? The NFL is back just in time to ruin my week. What do you think that equals? Look at this. Let's open it up. Let's copy and paste it. The NFL is back just in time to ruin my week. Look at this. Bam. The NFL is back just in time to ruin my week equals 201. Like the stadium he's getting buried in the same cipher. State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona equals 201. He made this post about football. And the stadium he's getting buried in, or getting his funeral in, is a football stadium. And his last tweet is, the NFL is back just in time to ruin my week equals 201 in the same cipher. And let us not overlook this 150, because Order of Illuminati equals 201, but Illuminati equals 150. You see that? So his tweet equals 150, which is a big number, and 201. Like Illuminati equals 150, and Order of Illuminati equals 201. So you guys understand how crazy that is? He just happens to make this video. And look at this. This was before he died. This was the day he died. Guys, this was the day he died. His tweet equals 201, or his headline equals 201. And look at what he posted in his comments. Look at what this says. The voice of martyrs. This is what he's promoting. And what happened to him? He became a martyr. This is what he posted. The voice of martyrs serves persecuted Christians. Look, they're telling you guys, persecuting Christians. His last post that equals 201 on the day he died was talking about martyrs and persecuting Christians. Great tribulation. Left behind. Charlie Kirk. Kirk Cameron. Telling us, yeah, exactly. Telling us what's coming, guys. What's coming is a tribulation of persecution against people who want to stand up for the truth. The freedom of speech is going to be taken away, just like he got shot in the throat. You guys get it? He got shot in the throat. You don't need numbers to understand this. He got shot in the throat when he was talking about gang violence. Persecuted Christians. And who's the guy? Who's the guy that's playing on the same day, making his first game on the day of Charlie Kirk's funeral? Christian Kirk, which means Christian church. Persecuting the church. Christian church. Christian church is playing the same day as his funeral. And he's got the same name as him, Kirk. And who else got in the news recently? Jimmy Fallon. Or not Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel. And what is Jimmy Kimmel's name? James Christian. Remember, you guys get it? He was speaking up against Kirk and he got silenced. And his name is Christian, like the persecution of the Christians, the people who speak up. He got his voice cut off, just like Charlie Kirk got shot in the throat. So do you guys understand that they're telling you very clearly this is all connected to the end times, the persecution of people and the end times, which eventually does lead to a rapture in the, the voice of martyrs. I mean, let's just see what persecuted Christian equals, just to see. Persecuted Christians equals 304. Interesting number. Persecuted Christian. Look at this. Look at this. Persecuted Christian equals, does it equal Charlie Kirk? Hold on. It equals 217. Hold on a second. I know there was something else I saw with that. Guys, it's weird. It's really weird that persecuted Christian equals my name. Am I destined to be a persecuted Christian? That's really interesting. Persecuted Christian equals Cody Ray Robertson. Okay. Bring it on, people. Bring it on. I just want to see what the name of this this company is. The Voice of the Martyrs, which is what he posted, but the day he died, he posted the Voice of the Martyrs. It equals 102. Well, 102 is the reflection of 201. It also equals 105, which I could say a lot about that as well, but anyway, you guys get the point. He posted, I just want you guys to think about this again. Oh, look at this. Voice of the Martyrs equals 222. Where's Joseph Aquaviva? But look, he posted about Voice of the Martyrs being persecuted, and then he gets shot in the throat, which is where you have your voice. Right? And then the last thing he posts about is the NFL, which equals 201. We've already covered that, but it's just so perfect, guys. Absolutely crazy. Persecuted Christians. He keeps saying it in this whole one. Days on the front lines with persecuted Christians. The Voice of the Martyrs. So yeah, now Charlie's last words, I might as well cover this while I'm here. Charlie's last words were counting. Let me just type it in. Counting or not counting gang violence. These were his last words, okay? Counting or not counting gang violence. Wow, I didn't even notice this. Wow, hold on. I just found something huge. Look, okay, so this was Charlie Kirk's last word before he was shot. Counting or not counting gang violence. That equals 489, like his last title for his video. Look, the NFL is back to ruin, just in time to ruin my week, equals 489, right? Like the last words that came out of his mouth, guys, and he's telling you to count, as in calculate. Counting or not counting gang violence. 489. That's improbable that it equals the same. His title that he gave his video and the last words out of his mouth equals the same thing in the same cipher. How about this? Let's see. Hold on. So the Pope is from Chicago, like Charlie, right? His name is Robert Francis Prevost, but he's named Pope Leo the 14th. So on top of all that, what I just showed you, look at the last words out of Charlie's mouth. Counting or not counting gang violence. Look how it equals 402 and 165. In the same ciphers as Robert Francis Prevost, Pope Leo the 14th. Now, why is that so significant? Because Pope Leo and Charlie Kirk are from Chicago. So Pope Leo is from Chicago. Charlie Kirk is from Chicago. The last words out of his mouth are about gang violence, which equals Robert Francis Prevost, Pope Leo the 14th. This in two ciphers. Okay, look at this. Chicago is considered the most gang-occupied city in the United States. Bam, there it is. There it is, right there. Wow, the Chicago Cubs equals 489 in Latin? Hold on. Wow. Wow, that's a good find. Wow. Pope Leo the 14th equals 489 too? Oh, you guys are rocking it here. Pope Leo X IV. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Hold on. Wow. Pope Leo the 14th equals 49 and satanic. He's from Chicago. The Chicago Cubs equals 49. The last word out of Charlie Kirk's mouth is counting or not counting gang violence, which equals 49. The last tweet he made was the NFL is back just in time to ruin my week, which equals 489. And Chicago is known for gangs. 489 equals 666. Really? Oh my gosh. Guys, we literally just on live broke down what this is clearly all about. Again, this part is even more mind-blowing. The last words out of his mouth also matches the last title of his video, and it matches his favorite baseball team. Remember, Charlie Kirk is a fan of the Chicago Cubs, and Pope Leo the 14th is from Chicago, like Kirk, which also equals 489. This is absolutely... Leave a mind blown in the chat if you guys understand just how mind-blowing this is right here. Like this is like absolutely ridiculous. Just this right here is ridiculous. But once you add this layer, and thank you to the people in the chat who found that. But like, yeah, Chicago zip code is 60606. So this is obviously a riddle for the Chicago Cubs. Remember, this ties to Back to the Future. Me and Derek are going to show how Back to the Future, Pope Leo, and Charlie Kirk is all tied together. Okay, but this right here is also huge, man. I'm going to have to look into this number 489. Because it's the one number that seems to be manifesting with this I'll look more into this because this is huge. Like, we just cracked a huge code right on live. I mean, this is huge. And I didn't even know this before the stream. This was on accident. Gangs in Chicago. Wow, gangs in Chicago equals 1566. That connects to King James. Let me just check 489 in this cipher again. There's got to be even more to this. Look at that, guys. Rate cut. Guys, that was the other big story. Rate cut. I can't believe it, man. See, that's what I mean. Rate cut equals, this just all happened. This rate cut just happened right after all this, right? The Federal Reserve, they just made their first rate cut. So again, going back to this whole Federal Reserve thing, I was just talking about this yesterday. Let's go, Brandon. Lisa Simpson. That's interesting. Murderers equals 489. Begotten Son 489. I'm just looking to see. The Occult 489. Demonic Spirit 489. Who is Nicholas Horner? That keeps coming up. Nuclear bombing 489. That's anyway. The most important point is the fact that his two last words both equaled 489. That is the real point here. which connects to his favorite team, the Chicago Cubs. So, like I said, this right here in itself is huge. Like, this is like perfect. Anyway, I'm going to go to the chat. We're going to start wrapping this up. Thank you to everyone who's staying up late night with me. Wow, I got 268 of you awake with me at 12 in the morning. So, I mean, I just got to give you guys a huge shout out. Thank you guys so much for watching and being up this late to watch me mess around with numbers. You guys are the bomb. And we cracked some big stuff in this decode. It wasn't even just about the rapture. And remember, this eclipse is going... Okay, one last thing. The eclipse on Charlie Kirk's birthday is going over Christ Church, right? Well, Christ Church had those mass shootings on March 15, 2019. What happens if you measure from the Christ Church mass shootings to the funeral and the eclipse that goes over Christ Church? Look at this. Whoops. Look how it's 666. You see this? From the Christ Church shootings to the eclipse that goes over Christ Church on the same day as Charlie Kirk's funeral, it's 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days. So add this to your 666 list. Remember how old Charlie Kirk is going to be on this, thanks to Joseph Aquaviva. Charlie Kirk will be 11,666. So again, this eclipse is going over Christ Church. We measured from the shootings at Christ Church. It's 666. Okay. Yeah, Joseph's comment right here. This lines up perfectly. It connects perfectly all to all this. Tyler Robinson, born 666 months after the CI, you guys know what, was founded, and Kirk died 6 years, 66 days after his final show, or after the show began. Funeral is going to be 1666 weeks or 11,666 days after Kirk was born. So yeah, there's that. And then not only is it 666, look at this. If you measure in days, it's 2383. Well, that's a prime number. That's the 354th prime number from the Christ Church shootings. Now look at this. Look at the title that Wikipedia gives it. Christ Church mass shootings. Look. Look at this improbable connection. From the Christ Church mass shootings to the eclipse, which goes over Christ Church, it's the 354 prime days. Look at the gematria of Christ Church mass shootings. 354. Are you kidding me? How is that possible? I measured from the actual event. I copy and pasted the title of Wikipedia, and you get 354. And if you measure from that to the eclipse going over Christ Church, it's 354 prime. I mean, again, what's the odds of that? That's absolutely perfect. Bam, bam. So again, we're talking about shootings. We're talking about church again. Kirk means church. I mean, we're putting the pieces together, that's for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for all staying up. And I really wanted to get this out tonight. And thank you to Maggie McCombs for always being in here. Thank you to Sue. Thank you to Joseph for being in here. Much love to you, brother. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Joseph Aquaviva 2222. Sue Meyer, Connie, God's Robot. Hello. Thank you. Apache Ghost. Also, thank you. Yeah, there was a huge earthquake in Christchurch as well. So watch for earthquakes, guys. Remember, there could be a big earthquake this weekend or this week. That could be the event. Thank you to Elena. Thank you to Mr. S. Thank you to Enthused Dreams. Mike D. Bones Jones. CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless. Yeah, we're going to talk about CM Punk probably in my next video. He's a huge part of this. Huge part of this. All right, guys. So have a great sleep tonight. And most of you are probably getting ready to sleep like I am. I know I'm going to have a nice restful sleep. I pray that all of you sleep super well and you wake up and you're happy and you're healthy and you feel good. I pray that for all of you. And I think I might have another video. Actually, I think not until Sunday. So I'll catch you guys, I believe, Sunday. And until then, God bless you all. And don't wait on the rapture. Let God rapture your spirit right now and let God make you feel good right now, because he can do it always and forever. So God bless. Have a good night.